Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Alumni Chats, a weekly podcast featuring alumni from the Department of Broadcasting and Journalism here at Western Illinois University. My name is Buzz Hoon, and I am the Associate Dean here in the College of Fine Arts and Communication at WIU. I'm also the former chair in the department and also professor. And I had the pleasure of speaking with our next guest, as he was one of my students back in the day, and that is Mitchell Leach II. Mitchell from the class of 2020, but we're going to talk a little bit about, you are actually, in my heart, you'll always be the class of 2006. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure to be on the show, and there's a great lesson in this. Finish when you're down there. We're gonna get to that. Your boy did not have let's just say I was a hot mess that last semester academically, so I had to finish it up last year. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's all good. So, let's begin where you are now, because everybody always wants to, you're looking good, and we're going to talk about your family. But, give us a life update. What's going on?
Yeah, well, first off, I adopted the Buzz look with the head. So that's been a change. It's great. A lot cheaper for a brother. Yes. But anyway, I am in Sacramento, California. My wife, Kristen, and I moved out here about 3 years ago. Have a 1-year-old daughter, and life is good, man. It's been a blessing to have a career journey, but then to get married along the way and to become a father as I built Interns to Pros. We'll get into all of that, but life is really, really good. It's been a blessing. So post Western, after I walked the stage in 2006, I had a role at Fox 32 in Chicago. And it was phenomenal. And I did 2 internships there during my time at Western, and it led to me getting an opportunity. And after, like I said, not doing so well at Western my last semester, and having a role in the top 3 market, that was my dream job, to cover my Bears, my Bulls, my Cubs are from the South Side of Chicago originally. And so that was my dream job, and just said I would get back to it. And, years later, I finally got back to it.
You did.
But yeah, so when we go to like career stuff, is that cool?
Yeah, well, let's talk about life growing up, because I want to talk about growing up on the South Side. Yes. And also your family and how that all shaped you and made you into who you are. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my fam, growing up on the South Side of Chicago, 76 and Cottage, was a beautiful thing. And you grow up, I'm a sports fan, you're talking the 90s. So everybody wanted to be like MJ. Yep. As you can see, I'm not MJ, but I wanted to be the Black Bob Costas per se. And so my parents were really, really encouraging throughout my sports dreams and playing sports. I have 2 younger brothers who love sports as well. And, they really taught me the value of hard work, the value of big dreams, of being diligent, and just kind of know how to navigate the streets and kind of navigate different spaces and how to deal with people, challenges, and how to make opportunities out of no opportunities. And so growing up in Chicago really set the tone for me in terms of having grit, having a grind, knowing how to be wise in the office and outside of the office. At an early age, my dad and my mom would speak wisdom into me and pray over me. And it's not the best of areas in terms of the much documented violence and things of that nature, but there is a lot of love in the South Side of Chicago. And I had a lot of love from a lot of people, from neighbors, and people looked after me. And it's been a phenomenal journey.
So what happened in high school that sort of impacted your career experience? There's some event.
Yes. So like I said, I was a huge Michael Jordan fan, Walter Payton fan, but Jordan was my guy. With me being 5'7", I knew I couldn't make it to the league. So I said, let me be the Black Bob Costas, like I said earlier. And so I knew at an early age, like at the age of 10, that I wanted to be in sports and cover sports. And so fast forward to I'm 14 years old. I'm in high school. I would watch my favorite thing to watch on television was the local nightly sportscast. And so my favorite sportscaster in the world was Tim Weigel, who was at the time the top sportscaster in Chicago, working at CBS 2 Chicago.
Yeah.
And would watch him every single night. And so one day I got after school, I got the wise, for whatever reason, idea, say, you know what, I want to job shadow him. And so I bust out the yellow pages. I know that's dating the brother, but yellow pages. There was no Google back then. CBS 2 Chicago, WBBM. I look up the number, the general number. I call the number. I said, hey, my name is Mitchell. Trying to get in touch with Tim Weigel. So they transfer me to the sports office, and the executive sports producer picks up. He just, they don't say a name. They don't introduce, they like sports, right? And so I'm like, hey, my name is Mitchell Leach II. I'm a sophomore in high school. Big fan of Tim Weigel, and I would love to request that I job shadow him for a day. It would mean the world to me as someone who wants to get into this field. So he transfers me to his voicemail. I leave a detailed voicemail, and lo and behold, Tim calls me back 30 minutes later. So I'm on the phone at the house, trying to play it cool, but in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Tim Weigel, right?
Yeah.
And so he invites me down to the station on a Thursday. I remember it like yesterday. And he takes me around, introduces me to people, and I was just there to be a sponge and soaked up a whole lot of wisdom. And so he's like, this is how here's my writing process. This is how I interview athletes. This is how I come up with the titles and creative things that me and my producer put together. And that night, he just gave me an up close and front and personal experience as a 14-year-old in high school. So at the end of the night, I'm on cloud nine. I'm just like, I'm putting the whole day, but I'm just going crazy, right? And he's like, Mitchell, how did you like tonight? I'm like, that was great. And I spit out everything that I learned. I took a lot of notes. And then at the end, he's like, you want to do this again? I'm like, yeah, I want to do this again. And so he invites me down. He says, come down next month. And that turned into an unofficial internship for me. And so I would go down to the station and kind of essentially be a high school intern unofficially, right?
Yeah.
And so he took me everywhere. So I'm walking into things he's covering. I'm hopping in TV trucks. I'm taking notes. I'm coming up with mock segments and things of that nature throughout the rest of my high school journey, sophomore year, junior year, and senior in high school. So by the time I knew I was getting ready for college, I knew what I had to do. I had to get internships. I had to get as much experience as possible. I didn't know what an internship was until he told me. And so I came in freshman year at Western knowing that that's what I had to do. And in fact, it's really by him that, that I went to Western, because I wanted to go to the University of Miami. I was going to go down there, but their broadcasting program and pretty much every communications program in the country was like, you have to be a junior to touch a camera. You have to be a junior to do this and that. And I've had an unofficial internship in Chicago and I'm doing stuff. And so I think I'm just gonna like get rusty and like learn. And so Western was the only school out of all of my choices. And like I said, I wasn't trying to be I love Chicago, but I was trying to be far away, USC or University of Miami. They were the only school that said, freshman year, you can come in and get as much experience as you want. You get hands-on, and that sold me. And so that experience with Tim Weigel, who has since passed, unfortunately, who was my biggest mentor, clearly in the business, really embedded in me the possibility of what's possible through an internship, the power of proactiveness, the power of learning how to talk with everybody, people who are 3 times your age or people younger than you, just the art of sportscasting, the art of writing, all of those intricate details, but also the interpersonal, personal things that really has played a ginormous part of my career. And so I owe a lot to him But I didn't, like I said, what I'm doing now is founder and CEO of Interns to Pros stems from my initial unofficial internship experience.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to get started, because there was really, for him, there was, taking a high school kid on.
Right.
What's the benefit? I mean, it's not,
Right.
I'm sure every once in a while, maybe you got him something from that he may have needed, but, it really shows how you can pay it forward. And you can, if you help somebody else out,
Yeah.
how that person then gets their life changed and then goes out. And what I see is that you're helping so many other people today, which is a wonderful thing. So, but let's stay in WIU memories before we get to what do you remember? What kind of things do you recall getting involved with early on in broadcasting?
Man, Western was amazing. Like I said, I was there because of the experience to get into sports broadcasting, and so I remember day one going into Sally Hall and Silly Hall and just really getting in there and learning and covering swim teams and covering water polo and covering like bowling and I did a lot. So my WIU experience was a lot of fun. So from a professional growth perspective, I got involved with the student newspaper immediately. I got involved with radio. I got involved with television, and I was doing all three things at once. And so just getting a lot of hands-on experience on writing and how to cover a team, all of the things that I took from my unofficial internship in Chicago, I was able to really do a deep dive. So I remember you being very instrumental in your wisdom, Don Norton, and so many others who really sold into me, Roger Sadler, who really taught me a whole heck of a lot. But it was really about the experience. Like I said, doing a ton of TV, doing a ton of Western Courier articles and covering teams in that sense. And then probably my biggest highlight was me, Mark Moses, who I know who's been on the show, and Brad Vesper. We were big sports nuts, still are today, of radio sports talk. And we said, let's do a sports talk show because we hadn't seen that. And so we decided to start our own sports talk show, and that's what we did, and ended up turning into a big thing. And so Western, from a sports broadcasting perspective, was invaluable due to the experience that I had, and I had a portfolio. But also, I did a whole lot of other stuff. I was in student government on the cabinet for years. I was an RA for 3 years, Black Student Association, student orientation. I spent a summer down there doing that stuff. I was blessed enough to work with President Goldfarb at the time on civic engagement and kind of coming up with how do we want to integrate that with future students. And so I was traveling with him to different conferences and different things and coming up with different curriculums on how can we engage students civically as freshmen and sophomores. Then they put me on like when he, actually I was part of the team that hired him. I was a part of those interviews and stuff like that. So that's how I knew him. And so like God really blessed me a lot to build so many great relationships. And I would be remiss, Alpha Phi Alpha, my wonderful folks, my brothers, I joined them back in 2003, and it's been a game changer as well. So many good memories. Homecoming King like in 2004 and random stuff. And I just remember having so much fun, both from a professional standpoint, from a personal standpoint.
Well, the Homecoming King thing was I always took pride in that because, as you know, we did the football.
That was a shock. That was a shock.
Yeah, well, but all because it was all broadcasting students behind the cameras, working the football games. And there's somebody that we knew, finally, a broadcaster was out there representing. And then for you to become named king, that was great for all of us. I mean, that was terrific.
It was surprising. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think something happened with the vote, but we're going to get into all that.
Yeah. And, you mentioned the fraternity, which was, that kind of brothership, the brotherhood, bringing people together. Can you talk about why that's so important, especially in a young person's life going through college?
Yeah, I mean, it's invaluable. Mentorship, like I said, I gave you a key story in a career mentorship standpoint. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated has been invaluable. And so there, I only have, I was only at the time the third person to go to college. I have a ginormous family. My mom has 8 brothers and sisters. My dad has 8 brothers and sisters, and like two of them went to college and none of them, were part of a fraternity or sorority. And so I didn't know anything. All I knew is that as I'm down there running around campus and doing this and doing that, I'm seeing alphas doing amazing work in terms of in the community, in terms of supporting new students, in terms of putting together professional development events. And yes, we had a good time and had black and gold and homecoming events. That was great and it was phenomenal, but it was really the impact, the investment in the lives of people, not just Black men, especially Black men, but we would be in the Macomb community putting on, taking kids out with brothers and sisters and bowling and buying lunches and marching and doing all type of things with people of all backgrounds. And so that left a great impression on me. And so being involved with them throughout my time at Western and continuing to be a member today has been phenomenal.
That's great. You mentioned already that when you left WI, you had this great opportunity in Chicago to get involved in television, which was again your goal, your dream,
Yeah.
to begin your career path. And so, what kind of things were you doing again was it
Yeah.
WFLD?
Yep, WFLD. Yep, you got it. Yeah, Fox News Chicago. It was great. So it was really so it really started with my internship. So, and this is why, and we'll get into this later, on kind of how it led to what I'm doing now. Um, by my midway point of my first internship, I was doing like producing stuff because they were short staffed. And so once they got that I was, because remember I had that high school internship. So by my second year in college, I'm very much more seasoned, and especially after your tutelage and Western's coaching me and getting that experience. They had me out doing stuff with live trucks and like as an intern. And so when I got the opportunity, it was a lot of the same things. It was just at a deeper and higher level. So I'm getting pregame sound from Wrigley Field. I'm covering. I was mainly two things: the getting sound guy because they literally had like two reporters and they couldn't be everywhere at the same time. And so I would dress up in the suit. I used to like to dress up. I still like to dress up. I'm kind of casual today, but I would go out with a camera guy in a suit, and I would get sound, pre-sound, post-sound. And if we were doing a live shot or doing some live stuff, they would have me do everything, covering training camps. And like I said, it was a dream for me. So I remember one day in particular where I had to be covering Tiger Woods and Medina at 7 a.m. and then having to cover the first night practice of Bears training camp in pads and just like going nonstop. But it was phenomenal. And so it was hard for me to stop that, to have that dream job. But it was phenomenal. A lot of hands-on writing and getting a lot of sound. And then also the other biggest thing was they had a sports talk show. I think they still do the Final Word on Sundays. And I was really good with athletes because I was their age. And so I was able to get people, and because I was able to relate to them, and no disrespect to the older folks, but they didn't know how to relate to a 21-year-old or 22-year-old. So I was able to speak their language. And so I was getting interviews and getting things. And once Fox saw that, they're like, we want you getting everybody. So whether it's getting Ozzie Guillen when he don't want to talk, or if it's getting Cedric Benson when he didn't want to talk to anybody, but he came to me, or if it's getting, whoever, I was able to build a connection because I didn't really look at him like that. I'm like, you're just like me. You're just way better than athlete. So it was a lot of that stuff.
Well, I've heard your philosophy on internship, which is A lot very similar to my attitude is if you think this is what you want to do, go out there and see if this is do the actual activity. Get a feel for it.
Yeah.
You may not decide that it's not. You and I are sports junkies, and so
Yeah.
exactly, all of what you're talking about would be my dream as well. I would have loved to have done those kind of things, but at least you found out that that's where you wanted to, spend your time and invest your own personal growth.
But let me show you something too. I was trying to find this book. So once I knew this is what I really wanted to do, I was looking up books, and this is called The Art of Sportscasting. I got this. I got this in high school, and this has Bob Costas, Vin Scully, all of the greats in every sport, breaking down what they do, how they do it, how they prep for a game, tips on how to develop certain skill sets. And I read that in high school, and I kept it with me throughout Western and through my time over the course of my career, because it was unmatched in terms of wisdom. Literally, I'm getting charts from Bob Costas, and I'm getting Vin Scully telling me how he breaks down X, Y, and Z. And so, and I will get into this later, but you're never too young to learn, to grow, and to soak up wisdom. And that's why mentorship is invaluable. That's why internships are invaluable, because the more you can input and practice, the better you'll go and do in your career.
Your next step along the career path at ESPN, which
Yes.
again is one of those things. I talk to a lot of young people interested in sports broadcasting, and their dream job, they tell me, is to work at ESPN. So how did you get hired, and what was it like?
Yeah, so what's interesting is back in like when the market crashed in 08, 09, I remember Fox 32 in Chicago had a lot of layoffs. And I remember my mentor and my other managing producer was like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. I think you may get laid off. I'm not sure. You may want to find something to pay Sally Mae until things kind of pick back up. And so I found out about an opportunity with the Walgreens corporate office that's
Okay.
north of Chicago. They were looking for a media spokesperson for a tour. And so I'm like, okay, looks like good money. I would get to travel. And so I would get to stay kind of in media, but it was a risk. And so I essentially left Fox to do that. I tried out and things went well. And so essentially, it was a media spokesperson for a health tour. And we traveled the country, and I would do all of the media hits. And so, for instance, let's say, and this happened, let's say we're in the Midwest market, they would send me to Chicago with the team, and I would promote whatever talking points they wanted to. So they would have me on morning shows, TV and radio. They would have me, I was just essentially the face of that tour. And so I did that not only for 1 year, but for 3 years. And so it went really, really well in a very challenging time for the sports media. Everybody was having layoffs, everybody was having hiring freezes,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize that me doing that job would be the reason why I got to ESPN. And so I'm in year 3. I knew I wanted to get back into sports, and I was in DC at the National Urban League Convention, and they had media rows, sort of like how they have media row and Super Bowls and big events. And they had me doing all these interviews. And the guy who was taking me around was like, we're just having small talk. He's with me all day. He's like, oh, so you're trying to get, so you used to do sports? He's like, yeah. I know somebody at ESPN. I just left a conference and know one of the recruiters. And then he sent me her info. They were looking for somebody for a PA trainee program, which would have been a step lower than what I wanted, but it was a shot. And so lo and behold, I applied for it and I got it. And so that's how I got to ESPN, was doing a job that I really didn't want to do, but I did it because I had applied at ESPN several times to no avail. And so having that contact, and her seeing my resume and working in Chicago and having the skill sets that I had, they brought me in, and that was a challenge. Talking about a challenge, here I am making really good money, traveling, having a great time. But to get at ESPN, I had two opportunities, two offers. One for the Chicago Bears in their PR department, and one for ESPN. And I'm praying about it. I'm like, oh, well, what am I going to do? The Bears, clearly, another dream, but love great money. But the ESPN potential, I'm like, just get me in there and watch what I do. Making $23,000 is really one level above an intern. It was a 7-month program. They don't even have a program no more. But it was a PA training program. You go in and they put you on highlights. They rotate you. Then you have a voting group. And after 3 months and 5 months and 7 months, they vote if they want to keep you or cut you. And a lot of times, some people would get cut in month 3. Like, it was ruthless. And so I survived that, became a production assistant at ESPN. And over the course of just under 6 years, I got promoted 5 times and worked on pretty much everything. It was a dream come true for sure.
Wow. I'm amazed because you have such great confidence in yourself. And I think that's a spirit-driven kind of thing that somehow you're moved in that direction, which is terrific. I mean, because a lot of people, as you mentioned, to take that to extend themselves in that way would have gone the safer route.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I could have stayed home and, like I said, a really good job and good money, but I knew ESPN would be just to be able to get in Bristol and move to Connecticut and to be at home base and to network and to learn, really the learning opportunities. And I was thinking about just being in that environment and studying. I'm a business nerd too. So just studying the how the ESPN machine works would be a great opportunity. And that's what I did.
So what did you learn from that, from overall, because I see this continual move and build and everything, how you're growing. What's the biggest takeaway from your time at ESPN?
Man, it was crazy. It was those 6 years were phenomenal. Like I said, my entry into ESPN was a miracle. Was a big sacrifice. Surviving those 7 months and really just making it. Had a couple good highlights at the end that got me through. But just grinding. So when I was there, I was really focused on doing my job well. So early on, you're doing teleprompter, you're doing highlights for Sports Center and college football shows and things of that nature. And here's the interesting fact. Coming from local television, it was much easier than ESPN because I'm there, and let's say you have the local sports segment is, 2-3 minutes. And that's it. You good. At ESPN, if I'm assigned the Chicago Bulls Knicks game, I may have to do 5 versions at the same time for 5 different shows. And so I would have a highlight. I would have three computers in front of me. I'm writing the script for Scott Van Pelt or whoever's anchoring that night, the actual script that they're reading. I'm doing a rough cut of it on QCut. I'm logging the game for the ESPN library all at the same time. And NBA Tonight may want a minute of a minute highlight. Sports Center, the 11 o'clock version, may want a 3-minute highlight. The Morning Sports Center may want a 30-second highlight. And so I'm writing, those are different scripts. and so you're doing a lot at once. And so I learned the art of multitasking, the art of dealing with executive producers, coming up with ideas, and that's your highlight. Like, you're creating everything. And so having to really be innovative and make every highlight look different was invaluable for my first couple of years at ESPN. Working on Mike and Mike, working on all the college football shows there, and then NFL Live, and kind of going to different show pods was amazing. And then just being able to network with so many people. Like, I got invited to be a part of some executive meetings, just to kind of be a sponge. One of the guys who's still there is the vice president there, Craig Lazarus, invited me to a weekly meeting, and it is the executive leaders of every department for content. And so you had ESPN Films in there, you had the Sports Center leads, you had, the E60s of the world, you had, the production, the production side in terms of event production. And I'm in a meeting, I'm the youngest dude there, and I'm just taking notes. And then I start getting involved. I'm like, what would actually resonate better with this audience? And they're like, oh, and they would actually try it. And so I'm in a meeting this happened for like 2 years. And so getting a PhD in terms of how the machine thinks, how they work, the money that goes along with it, the ups, the downs, was an absolute joy. And then just, me, I'm all about informational interviews. And so every week, pretty much, I would have one informational interview with somebody in the company where I would say, 15, 30 minutes where I'm just, learning about their career, learning about their career path, learning about what they do, how I can help them from my department. And so I was meeting with ESPN marketing, with sales, with programming and acquisitions. I was all over that huge campus, just meeting people. And lo and behold, a lot of those connections I'm still very close with today and have gone on to do big things at Fox Sports. Some are in music industry now, some are, and it's just, I built relationships, not from what can I get from them? It was, how can I learn and add value to them? And it has been a ginormous blessing in my career. So, and all in all, the ESPN experience was like ESPN University for real. Like, case in point, I'll see if I can show you this. This is, sorry, but I think it plays well into my story. This says ESPN University. So they would have a lot of classes under their university, ESPN University, about just everything, all things ESPN, how the machine works. So I would go to everything. And so I love wisdom. I love soaking up insights and how can I add value to the brand. And I encourage students today to say, hey, don't just study for the job, like know that company inside and out, like be like a shareholder, like listen to, read the trade magazines, the broadcasting and cables of the world, the synopsis medias of the world, what did ESPN do in they upfront, like know everything, like you run the company. And I was able to walk into situations and to talk to literally the president of ESPN and the number twos and have lunches with them. And I still in contact with them today because I wasn't trying to take anything from them. I was literally trying to learn, but figure out a way, how can I add value, not only to my department, but to the brand overall. And I think that's something that's transferable. And I learned that at ESPN.
So I've already kind of explained about how you benefited from internships. You benefited personally from mentorship. Mm-hmm. And then you leave ESPN and you set out to use what you've learned, which I think is so cool, though, Mitchell. I mean, again, you have great belief in yourself. You have these things that life experiences that you've accumulated, and you're saying, okay, now I'm going to do my own thing. How did that happen?
It was crazy. No, so the Interns to Pros is the name of the company that I formed and launched back in 2018. So this goes back to Western. Western has a tie in this. And so I'm a sophomore at Western now. I remember vividly, I'm walking around the track at the rec center, and I'm just frustrated at so many my fellow students not knowing how to get internships, how to maximize internships. And I'm frustrated at companies that aren't optimizing the internship opportunity from their standpoint. And so I'm like, man, whatever I'm done with my sports career, I want to launch something that's really going to help students and help organizations optimize the internship experience. And so I got the name. I'm at Western at the rec, walking around that track, Interns to Pros, kept it.
Wow.
Kept like a journal. And so I would get ideas all of the time on, okay, if I would have built this thing, how would it look? What can we do? And so for the next decade, I'm building it and writing it out and kind of doing some of it, kind of, one student at a time as I'm at at Fox, at ESPN, even at Walgreens, people would hit me up and just really mentor and help students find and maximize internships. And then 2017 rolls around. By then, I'm married, and I knew I didn't want to stay in Connecticut. My wife didn't want to stay in Connecticut, and one thing about this business is you have to be honest with what you want. And so I learned this from Tim Weigel back in Chicago. He was, I know this is a little personal, but he had a lot of challenges, and like a lot of people in the business, if you want to be married, it's going to be hard to stay married because of the challenges of the job. And so working every Thanksgiving for football, working every Christmas for NBA Christmas game, Lord knows the bowls, college football bowl season, and the travel for that, all cool jobs, Super Bowl, and if it's World Cup or if it's the Olympics, I'm busy, I'm gone, I was like, I want to have a family.
Yeah.
I want to be married, have a successful marriage, and so I have to make the decision. Like, okay, you know what? This is time to do interns to pros. I talked it over with my wife, and I had survived 3 layoffs at ESPN. And so I felt secure. I was good. I was still, getting some tremendous opportunity and working on, I was debating on going to DC to continue to work on PTI and Around the Horn, and we'll go to the LA office. I turned down an opportunity to go when they launched Sports Nation out there and in NBA studios out there. But I'm like, you have to know how to prioritize what you want. And so fast forward 2017, April 2017, I leave ESPN to launch Interns to Pros. I work on it for 6 months. And then next thing you know, the track to Sacramento was a crazy story in itself. And I'll just put it to you like this. I told you I'm a business nerd. I love to read, as you can see out of my library back here. I had planned at ESPN, you would have to put your vacation time in like a year early, essentially. And so I had planned to go out to Silicon Valley just to be in that atmosphere, spend some time at Stanford, and just go to different events and network and learn. And so that's what I had planned it out, not knowing that I would have left ESPN that previous month. So I'm in Silicon Valley. People are, introducing themselves. I'm like, I'm Mitchell, I'm just here to learn and this and that. And I'm, just about to launch Interns to Pros. And after giving them my heart for this business and giving them the strategy and who we want to serve and why, I'm getting, hey, I know this person at Facebook. I want you to meet with this person. Hey, my friend, they need what you need at Google. Hey, there's this startup that don't have an internship. They want to have an internship. And so in 3 days, I got 10 cards of people at prominent places wanting what we would eventually build at Interns to Pros. And so that led to moving. We thought we were going to move to the Bay Area, but it's crazy expensive out there. And then my wife gets this. My wife is a family physician. She gets a call from Kaiser Permanente, the top medical group out here, and they're recruiting her to Northern California. So we're like, what? And so they fly me and her out here for her interview. And we love the Sacramento area. We clearly want to be able to raise a family, and we're like, this is great. And being the state capital of California, there was a lot of opportunities. I'm an hour and a half from Silicon Valley. It's a great market, and that's why we're here. And so Interns to Pros has been a dream come true. Like, this is the ultimate dream job for me, to be able to essentially help connect, inspire, and equip students for whatever they're meant to do.
It's a really neat. I've been to the website. I've seen what you guys have done. It's really a really cool way to help other students. And one of the things I just want to let you know, of course, you do a podcast as well. Because what I'm seeing here is, I'm like, Mitchell took everything, all those things that he was involved with when he is at WIU, and it all shaped him. And, the writing, the broadcasting, even, knowing how to work in television, the connections with other people, because you were such a social person, and you wanted to do so many different things. all those kind of things are coming together because here you are doing a podcast which is great.
Thank you.
I'm just amazed. I'm like, you can see it like, it's almost like a movie as it continues to move along there. It's awesome to see, Mitchell.
No, thank you. No, it really is funny. You don't learn this until you get older. It's just every season matters. And whether you're a freshman, whether you're a senior, whether you're in your first job, your third job, what I've learned is that you're blessed with an opportunity to get as much as you can out of that season. Some seasons you may stay at a place for 25 years, 50 years, but more than likely you will have different chapters. And so for me, every chapter, I wanted to get better. I wanted to learn, and I wanted to utilize what I've been blessed with. And I did not know that a job at Walgreens would actually be the way I got to ESPN. I didn't know that doing an internship would lead to having a job, in the third market really early, being the youngest dude there. Like, I didn't know that my ESPN university experience has essentially set me up in a major way in terms of having the connections and having the wisdom and insight into so many recruiters and different things of that nature that has helped us get off to a fast start over the last 3 years with Interns to Pros. And so every season matters. And it all started, like I said, WIU really was part of that critical foundation to building the confidence, to building the skill sets, to go into broadcasting conferences and doing those things, really laid the foundation for what I'm doing today.
Well, let's, as we always wrap up these episodes, I like to talk about hearing your recommendations for students. And I'm sure you're in a prime position. You hear from wonderful people all across the business, multiple businesses, what they want from students. What's your recommendation for a student?
Man, yeah. So I'll try to keep it short because this is what I love to do.
Yeah.
Interns to Pros, we serve sports, entertainment, media, tech, and government jobs. And so I deal with a lot of different corporate recruiters who run these internships or who hire people for their first jobs, and it's really the same thing. They want somebody who is proactive. And when I look at my career, and I'm sure in your career as well, the habit of being proactive, and I don't care what you're doing, where you're doing it, will take you places. So be proactive to learn, be proactive in trying to get experience, try to create experiences. One of the biggest tips that I like to give students is like master the art of creating. A lot of people mix up innovation and creation. And they say innovation like it's creation, but they're two separate things. Being creative is creating something from scratch, like it didn't exist. Innovating is improving on what has been created. And so if you can be a person, I don't care if you're in broadcasting, if you're at Starbucks or if you're at Google, if you can be a person who can create value and then innovate on the value that has been created by yourself or others, you will always be valuable. Number two, I'm sure you guys guessed this, but internships are vital.
Yeah.
Vital. Do not wait until your senior year when you got to get those 3 credits for co-op. Like, it's too late. So the only reason I got that opportunity at Fox at 21 years old is because I did 2 internships and I was able to prove myself and to build relationships with the executive producers and assignment desk people and actual people at the Bulls, at the White Sox, at the Hawks, at the Cubs. Like, I was able to build relationships and also get better at what I do. And so internships are invaluable, not only for what you want to do, but especially you'll know what you don't want to do. Like, yeah. I had a PR internship one time. I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm good. Like, this ain't me." So there's so much value about internships. So definitely, as soon as you can. Like, I had an internship my freshman year all the way through. I did like 7. I don't advise that, but if you can do 2 to 3 internships, you'll be in good shape. Also, networking. Networking, and I know it can be a bit intimidating, but networking is really building relationships. Like, don't look at it like business card and doing all this other stuff. Just be yourself. There's only one you. Be you. And so I've been able to learn how to be myself in any situation. So a matter of fact, if I'm at the state capitol with some legislators, I'm gonna be this dude. If I'm at ESPN in a meeting with interns, like I'm gonna be this guy. If I'm with Buzz, I'm gonna be me. Now you do want to exercise wisdom in every scenario, but you don't want to be fake at all. You want to be authentic. You want to figure out a way to add value. But networking is not about what you can get. Always approach it as a being a learning, but also how can I add value to that person, not expecting or looking to get anything in advance, getting anything back. And that has served me well in every season as a 19-year-old at Western to 38 here in California. And let me tell you what happens. People reach out to you. People like, you know what, I can trust that brother because he hasn't asked me for nothing, but yet he is reaching out. He is sending me birthday notes and gifts. He's helping me find a job. He's referring me. Like, what can I do for you? And that is how I've gotten so many opportunities. Case in point, with the opportunity that you know of with Fox that we had a couple of WIU students about, they reached out to me. And so it's people see when you aren't selfish and when you just want to add value. And then also, lastly, just the importance of being an ongoing learner and growing at every touch point. Trust me, do not stop learning when you leave Macomb. Like, don't do that. Like, I literally was on a call earlier this week, and the whole topic about with these CEOs, they're like, we need people who will upskill and reskill. Like that is the number one topic in tech, in media, in education. It's like, how do you upskill? And so you can do that now. And so pick one skill that you can add to your toolbox. And then if you're a little rusty, like editing back in Macomb, like in 2004 and 2021 is a little different.
Yeah.
The fundamentals are the same, but the programs are different. So you always want to be proactive again in terms of learning as much as you possibly can, not just about you, but also the macro situation. So wherever you go to work, as an intern in your first job, know that business, study that business, read every article you can, know who are the key players, not just the CEO, but who are the key managers, who are the best interns, learn from them, who are the rock stars at an organization, study what they do, how they do it, and how can you add value to them and add value to the organization. But grow at every step. I'm still doing informational interviews. I'm still reading as much as I possibly can. I'm still virtual now, attending a lot of conferences. So do not let up in your learning because if you're not growing, you're going the other way. You don't want to go the other way.
Yeah, that progressive growth, I think, is so important for all of us. I want to end it with you talked about a major quote that's helped you on every step of your journey. I want to hear what this quote is.
Yeah. So one of my mentors, this was about a decade ago. He was like, "You're 100% in control of what you do, of what you don't do, and how you respond to what happens to you." So you are 100% in control of what you do, of what you don't do, and how you respond to what happens to you. So that's that proactiveness. That's like, okay, what am I choosing to do? Am I choosing to, party a little bit too much and not really take care of the business? Am I choosing to do an internship or just take a job to get more money? Or am I choosing to read that extra book? Am I choosing to help out this person? Am I so really you're in control of what you do. You're in control of, you know what, that's a great opportunity, but I'm not going to do that because it's just not in alignment with where I'm trying to go or what I'm trying to do. And then also as somebody who survived like 5 layoffs. And I know it breaks my heart, so many people who have lost, for whatever reason, and it's just a casualty of the economy. But how do you respond to COVID, the COVID era? I know I've been telling students, I know your internship got canceled. I know your internship is virtual now. But how are you gonna respond in this moment? Are you gonna be proactive and take some online courses and go to edX and go to Coursera and go to Udemy and build some skill sets? Who are you gonna help in this season? How are you going to add to your portfolio? Like, how did you respond to something that you didn't have anything to do with, either on the positive side or a negative side? So, like I said, what you do, don't do, and how you respond to what happens to you is really everything at every touch point, and it's applicable in any area of your life.
Well said. It's somebody that tries to encourage students to go out and continue to grow and do great things. And I see great things that have happened in your life, Mitchell. And I'm so happy for you, man.
Thank you. And I got to tell you, Buzz, you have been, and I've told you this many times over the years. I remember just how instrumental you are in setting the tone for the broadcasting department, your leadership, your heart, your diligence, and how you created things, how you innovated things, how you brought great people in, how you galvanized students, galvanized professors. I'm not surprised at your success and your growth, but thank you for the impact that you've made in my life. Thank you for the impact that you certainly have made in so many other people's lives. And so thank you. And I'm excited for what you have in store too. I know you ain't done yet. I know you ain't done.
Oh, Mitchell, you're going to make me cry here on the show.
I'm just speaking facts, bro. Just speaking facts.
Well, I appreciate every word that you said and the time that we've been able to share today. Thanks for joining me. And next time you're in Macomb, I hope to see you.
You will do. Will do. Thank you so much. And listen, make sure you optimize the campus experience, y'all. Do that.
Good. Okay. Thanks to all of our weekly viewers out there. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast or want to recommend somebody, just send me an email. We love to hear from all of you, including our alums. And we want to continue to encourage you to watch and listen to podcasts. And we really appreciate everyone's support. So until next week, stay safe, take care, and God bless.